Hello, welcome back everybody. Today I'm excited to get to do a video on the new brush cutter that Ventrac released, the MZ480 brush cutter. This thing's really cool. I got it on my 4500 and I got this fence row through the property and then this tree line here into the woods. I've been wanting to clean this up. Usually I did a video on this. I've been slowly each year going through and using a steel weed trimmer with a saw blade on it and a chainsaw, trying to eliminate a lot of this brush. And this attachment here is going to be a lifesaver because I'm going to be able to eliminate all this brush very easily and quickly with this new attachment. So this is a little different than a tough cut attachment. The cutting width of this is only 48 inches compared to 68 on the tough cut. This is a little different of an attachment also. Instead of having 3 fixed blades, this mower deck just has 2 half-inch blades. That's a swing blade. So it's able to hit things and swing back with almost like a flywheel on the spindle. So when this gets going and spinning, it gets momentum, and that gives it the ability to cut down saplings up to 3 inch in diameter with this deck. So I'm real excited to get to try this out. Different settings on this deck. There's 2 settings actually. The lowest you can cut's 3 inches. That's what I'm going to be cutting at today. And then you can adjust it to where you can cut it at 5 inches. The length of this deck is 70 inches. Total width of the deck is 52 inches, and it's 20 inches in height, and it weighs in at 550 pounds. So definitely a heavy duty deck. 550 pounds for the size of this. That's pretty impressive. On the front of this deck, you'll notice it has almost what I would call a trap door with a hydraulic cylinder. So if you get into a larger diameter tree, by pushing in on that door, it allows it to open up to cut the sapling rather than trying to push it over. So I'm going to do some more tests, cutting tests in another video with this against the tough cut deck, just to sort of show you cutting this in weeds also. Let me grab the camera and show you what we're going to be cutting here today. All right, so I'm going to be showing you what I'm going to be cutting with the MZ480 brush cutter today. In this wood line, I got like 18 foot. The property line goes back in here. And further down, I had the fence row. I've been trying to clean all that out, primarily just to make it look cleaner, nicer. And then when I mow all this stuff back here, and even the lawn up near the fence row, all these limbs keep growing in. And I've been trying to slowly clear it out. I did go down through here and mark any obstructions that I might see, so that way I got it marked. There's some rocks, stumps, that kind of stuff. I don't want to hit nothing to damage the deck, so I did go through here and mark that. So I'll set up the camera and we'll start cutting down some of this brush and see how this goes. guys, I don't know what to say. You know, Ventrac makes all kinds of attachments, and you know, every one I've run so far, I've liked them all. I can't complain about any of them. But I've always said there was something about the Tough Cut deck was always my favorite, just because mowing down weeds and going through brush was so much fun. There was something about it. Well, I found my new favorite attachment. This brush cutter, I don't even know what to say. It's only been 5 minutes operating this thing, and this is the coolest attachment. Just look at this, going through this brush. No problems at all. It's just, you know, annihilating this stuff. Some of them trees, like these saplings here, I mean, look at the size of this, and it just, that little front, I call it a trap door, opened right up, and it just sucked it in, pushed it back, and it's just mulching this stuff up. It's almost like a little forestry mulcher. I mean, I just can't believe how well this is working. And this is on the 4500Y. This is the diesel model. So I'm not trying to do a power test, but just to show you guys, even the diesel, it doesn't take any power. You get this momentum going on this deck, and it doesn't really take much power to knock this stuff down. So I'm gonna get you some more camera angles, go through some more of this. I'm gonna keep at it here, and then we'll talk about it here at the end. All right, so I'm moving right along here. This brush cutter deck, this MZ480, is making quick work of this. Like I said, guys, this thing is very impressive. So it didn't take me long at all. Actually, it's taking me more time setting up cameras and doing that kind of stuff, trying to get you guys some video footage of this thing in action. But it is just clearing this out very quickly. So
Alright, in this video you'll see I'm going a little slower, and that's just because I'm taking stabs going in this fence row. If I was in a wider open area like behind me and I had this brush, I could just go a little faster and keep continuing forward. You will notice when I do go up some of the larger trees and go in that trap door, I'm trying to hurry up and back up. I'm taking short jabs at them, that way they fall back so I can mulch them.
alright, so I'm back here. I'm getting ready to cut some more brush down, and man, these ticks already this year, it's going to be a bad year. I keep getting ticks on me back here, so that's usually not a good sign. So over here, I cut this down a couple years ago. This was all woody material like this, and I had to come through here and hand cut this with a trimmer, with a saw blade, and chainsaw, that kind of stuff, haul all that material out, burn it. So the property line goes in to where that gas marker is. So I'm trying just to, like I said, cut all this back so that it gives me a little more room. I can just tough cut in there, and why not have a little more room? So hammering through this stuff. It took about 10 minutes. You can move right along. So guys, this thing's pretty impressive. Now some of this stuff here got pushed back in here, and I really wasn't mulching it all up, but there's a rock right there. Back in there, there's a rock. So I don't want to hit none of this stuff. I'm just trying to clear out, you know, to the property line. That's about it. And this kind of stuff I can pull out and burn if I need to, a couple pieces here and there. Put the blade on and I can just shove it in there. It doesn't matter. But now this is the thickest part of this whole fence row. Everything else was smaller materials. This is the thickest tree part. All right, so I do want to pause and show you guys afterwards. This video is going to be long, but I'm really impressed with this brush cutter, and I want to try to show you guys in depth what this can do. So look at this, mulching this material up, and this stuff that I was hitting there, look how thick and overgrown this was. There is a little bit of a dirt mound in here, so I couldn't get all that. I'm gonna pull that out and mulch it up before I'm done. But guys, this thing just eats brush. So if you're mowing something that's overgrown and you have a lot of areas with brush and stuff like this in it, this thing has no problems taking it down. So I'm gonna keep at this because it keeps raining off and on. I'm gonna try to get this done, and I'll show you everything when I'm done. All right, the nice thing with having this 48 inches, just as wide as the tractor, going back in here, I was able to get back in here in these harder to reach places and take down all this brush back in here. So. All right, so there's the MZ480 brush cutter that Ventrac released this year. I had a lot of fun operating this attachment. It's probably been one of my most favorite attachments of using yet, followed by the front end loader. And just looking behind me, just, you know, stabbing into this brush and these, you know, woody stems and annihilating it and mulching it, it's pretty satisfying. I can say that is definitely a lot of fun to use. I had this on the diesel, and you guys can tell by listening to the video, it never lacked power. I never really bogged it down, nothing like that. The momentum gets going with this deck and it carries through. I did mow a few stripes of weeds for you, just so you could see it. It rained a little bit ago again. It was wet, but it does mow grass, clover, weeds and stuff just fine. I did do a video of this alongside the tough cut so you guys could see cut qualities and stuff like that. So if you're not a subscriber, you know, be sure to subscribe so you don't miss that, and check that video out. I also did videos on the fine cut, the fast cut, flail, tough cut in the past. So I got a lot of the cutters from Ventrac covered. I had a lot of fun doing it. One more thing before I end this video, and this is a very important one, I do want to tell you guys, operating all the attachments, you should wear eye protection. I know sometimes I'm not a very good role model. I get in a hurry doing these films and I go out and make a couple passes, and sometimes I don't put them on, but this attachment, I had them on the whole time, and I'm going to tell you, these aren't sunglasses. These are tinted safety glasses. Using this attachment, probably in some of the video clips you guys seen it, but there were chunks of wood and stuff coming up. So definitely recommend, do not use this without these, please. I'd hate to see anybody lose an eye or get injured like that. But other than that, I want to end the video on that. Hope you guys liked it. Thanks for watching.